Okay, today's video is for my music classes, jazz and American popular music. I think the numbers you're looking for will be music 140, 401, 402, and 4AHA. For those students, 401 is the first 8 weeks, 402 for the second 8 weeks, and the 4AHA is an all-semester course for dual enrollment. We'll be starting this this week, and everything is online, partially because of COVID, partially because of what I'm doing. But I will post all work on Blackboard, and a syllabus will be there. This video hopefully will be there. And then you'll have a PowerPoint, a video to watch, and then a test. And you'll take the test, email it to me. My email is provided in the syllabus. If you have questions, you can communicate with me through that email, or you can call the number that's on the syllabus, and I will try to arrange, I'll answer you if I can. I'll get back to you if you leave a message. We're going to be looking at jazz and popular music, and we're not using a textbook. Instead, we'll be using the Ken Burns documentary on jazz, which I found to be a little better than most textbooks I've read. Plus, it's more enjoyable because you get to see the artist, hear the artist from the excerpts, and he does a good job of pointing out the, what you might say, unchangeable aspects of the history of jazz. I think you'll enjoy it. Now, I'll do the assignments, posting them probably weekly or every other week, based on what we have to do and what we're looking at. The assignments will be relatively simple in that you watch the video, you follow the PowerPoint, and then take the test. Now, I know that with a test, an online course like this, when you have the testing material right there, you can always look up the answers. And I figure you'll do that. I almost expect it. I would encourage you to challenge yourself first, to try to take the test without looking for answers and see how well you're retaining what you're seeing. As I said, with this video and PowerPoints, the work should be relatively simple. But my goal for this class, since it is an elective class rather than a major, is to make it something educational and entertaining, and also be beneficial in your grade point averaging. This class is not designed to hurt you, but to educate you in a way that you're dealing with a subject outside of your normal major. If you're a music major and I were teaching this class, it obviously would be a little more challenging, but I'd rather this be something that you can actually gain some information from and enjoy the class and want to work. Now, I will give you one word of warning. In this class, we will be taking tests. We may take as many as 6 to 8 tests throughout the 8-week period, maybe the same for the semester period. And then we'll be doing a research paper, which will be 5 pages. In the syllabus, the topics that I want you to use are listed. Things like talking about the 3 cities of jazz, New Orleans, Chicago, and New York. You can write about all 3, or you could just take one city and focus on it. We'll talk about things like the British invasion and the Mississippi Delta Blues. You could compare the 2, or you could just take one and focus on it. So you'll see approximately 5 to 6 topics that you could use, or there's 3 basic topics. So I'll let you choose which one you want to write. If you have something else you'd like to write about, then feel free to contact me, and I'll give you my approval, or I may suggest that I've got enough biographies of Louis Armstrong or something like that. The other aspect of the written work is you're going to do 2 projects. Now, before you panic, these are written projects, probably about 1.5 to 2 pages long. And what I'm asking you to do is do an analysis and a compare and possibly some contrasting of 2 genres. For instance, and I give this in the syllabus, if you were to look at, say, Scott Joplin and some of the early ragtime music, and compare that to Robert Johnson and the Delta Blues. You'll find the instrumentation is different. Joplin was a piano player, Johnson was a guitar player. You'll find the form was different. Joplin did a lot of repetitive stuff, whereas Johnson did what we call a 8 or 12 bar blues style on the guitar. Not a lot of the Scott Joplin stuff had lyrics, whereas Johnson's, all his had lyrics. I'll ask you to talk about the style, the form, the instrumentation. Also, grab an artist. It doesn't have to be these two. You'll have plenty to choose from by the time we get ready to do this. And after about 4 weeks, you'll have probably at least 2 genres to look at. Like I said, I'm using the ragtime versus Delta blues. You could also use the style of Jelly Roll Morton, who put a Spanish sound in his music. You could compare it to early country music. So we'll be doing that. And later on, at the end of the first 8 weeks, or the 8-week course, we'll have talked about some of the rock and roll, British invasion, some of the later jazz, and you could do a comparison, say, between Louis Armstrong and his trumpet playing style and Dizzy Gillespie and his bebop style. But the idea is for you to be familiar with the musical styles enough to where you can compare, contrast, cite artists, cite their works, and put that in about 1.5 pages or to 2 pages of information. I don't think you'll find it difficult. It sounds hard, but once you look at the syllabus, you read the description, I think you'll see that it's really not too difficult an assignment. Now, what I'll do with this is I'll grade all your tests, and I'll average that grade together, and that will be your test grade. Then I'll take your written work, the research paper, and these 2 projects. I'll grade them, and that will be your written work. And then, after these both have been averaged, I'll average those 2 grades together to come up with your final grade. I point that out because I've found that sometimes if people have a hard time with the written work, they may do better on the test, and vice versa. If they have a hard time with the test, they may do better on the written work. So that gives you an avenue of assistance for pulling your grade up if it gets low. Don't forget to do both. I've had students who done all their tests, have a 95 average, look on Blackboard and say, well, I don't even need to turn in my written work, I've already got this. But they forget that that written work is half of the grade, not just one part of the grade. And so if you have a 95 average on your test grade and don't turn in your written work, you will end up with about a 40 average for your final grade. So that's the most common way people have failed my class, is they start thinking, well, I don't need to do this work because I've got such a good test grade, or I've done my written work, I don't need to take this test. You need to do it all, because a lot of the learning will be found in the actual testing and assignments. I probably won't be giving lectures. I will give you PowerPoint, and in the PowerPoint there'll be some places where I'll do a transcription of lecture notes, but PowerPoints themselves are rather self-explanatory, and they match up pretty well with the videos. I will come back occasionally with some extra information, and I'll try to post it as I'm doing here with this, unless I have some video difficulties, which I've already had. But I won't waste your time with that. The coursework, like I said, will all be on Blackboard. The grades will be posted on Blackboard, but I encourage you, don't go through and average those grades, because what I do is, with the test grades, if we have several test grades, I will drop 1 or maybe even 2 of the lowest grades. That too will help your overall average. So if you look at a long string of grades and average them, you may come up with a number, but I'll probably guarantee that my number is going to be a little higher, so don't panic. Just make sure you get all the work turned in, and there'll be certain dates on the syllabus that will tell you when this is due. The 2 projects, one will be about halfway through the term and the other will be at the end, so they'll sort of serve as almost like a midterm and a final exam, because the tests will all be weighted the same. There's no final exam or midterm tests. See if there's anything else I wanted to tell you. Oh, of course, my name is Brooks Walker, Dr. Walker, and all that information will be on the syllabus. The dates will be on the syllabus, and when we stop. But that with the online course, it's not as drastic that we get started on the 11th and end on the whatever it is, the 15th of March for the 8-week class, first 8 weeks, because this work you'll be doing pretty much on your own. If you have questions or needing help, I'll be accessible. I'll be sending you an email so to make sure that we have lines of communication so that you can respond to that email. This will be, I think, an entertaining and enjoyable class for you. Most people have taken it and have found to be both. And I've had pretty good reviews from my students. So we'll stop there for now. This, like I said, this is just your introduction to the class. The work, some of it's already posted if you want to get started. This, of course, is not posted yet. But we'll get all that started, and I think on the 11th is our first official beginning of class. And like I said, it's up to you just to go, look, do your work, communicate with me if you have any questions. But enjoy it. I wish I could be with you in class, but there's problems, like COVID and other things that keep us separated. But thanks for listening, and I'll be in communication with you later. Bye-bye.